start Kashf Shubuhaat. طيب Shaykhul-Islam Wahhab said, وعرفت أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قاتلهم على هذا الشرك ودعهم للإخلاص العبادة لله وحده، كما قال الله تعالى: فلا تدع مع الله أحدا له دعوة الحق والذين يدعون من دونه لا يستجيبون لهم بشيء. طيب, now we're going to discuss inshallah that Prophet ﷺ fought the Quraysh, even though they believed Allah, the Lord of the heaven and the earth. They believed Allah, the Creator, the Provider, the Sustainer, the one who gives life and death. They believed all that. Even after that did not make them a believer. Okay, Prophet ﷺ fought against the shirk they were committing. What was the shirk they were doing? The shirk they were doing is al-wasita, al-wasit, tawassul, intermediary they were making between Allah and themselves. طيب? And we have covered that when it comes to ibadah, there is no such thing wasita. There is no something intermediary. You worship Allah Azza wa Jal directly, as Allah said, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ, and your Lord said, call on me, I'll respond to you, call. So there is no such thing tawassul between Allah and us when it comes to ibadah. Okay, we ask Allah directly. So Prophet ﷺ fought against the mushrik of the Quraysh because of that shirk. That's the major shirk they had. And we have explained what shirk is. So what does Shaykhul-Islam say here? Prophet fought them because of the shirk. Shirk in their ibadah. And he called them to ikhlas. Now what is ikhlas? In English we say sincerity. Okay, but the ulama have explained that many definitions are given. Like one of them is that صرف العبادة لله ولا رياء فيها ولا طمع الدنيا يرجو ثواب الله عز وجل. كما قال العلماء, that to turn the worship to Allah Azza wa Jal alone, without showing off and without seeking the worldly gain, worldly benefit. So when we worship Allah, when we seek knowledge, we don't seek except to seek the pleasure of Allah, His reward, and we don't seek knowledge to gain the worldly benefit. We can debate the people, debate the ulama. No. So ikhlas means someone who is mukhlis is to turn the worship to Allah alone. That's why Ibrahim alayhi salam, another meaning is Hanif, the one who turned all the worship to Allah Azza wa Jal. So mukhlis is the one who turned every ibadah for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Even ikhlas, my brothers, with ikhlas you can make which is not worship into worship. Okay, like if you do something mubah, something worldly, drinking, exercising, or anything like that, that's not in its essence, it's not a worship. But if you sincerely do it for Allah, that can become a worship. So for example, sleeping is not worship in itself, but if you someone who sleep for sake of Allah to get up for Fajr, that becomes the worship. If you inshallah, if you do exercise to keep yourself fit so you can worship Allah longer, better, that can become a worship. That becomes the worship. So the poet says, Al-Akyas عادتهم عبادة والسفهاء عادتهم عبادتهم عادة. That Akyas, people with wisdom, with knowledge, for them even Ada becomes the worship for them. Why? Because they do things which is custom, they do for the sake of Allah, become the worship. As for the Sufaha, the foolish one, okay, even ibadah becomes the custom for them, because they don't really worship Allah all the time, they worship for the sake of the people doing it. So month of Ramadan comes, they pray 5 times a day, because people pray, I'm going to pray. Ramadan goes, they're back to normal again. Understand? So ikhlas is such an important thing, and based on our ikhlas, we'll get our reward. Okay, if we do everything for the sake of Allah, that's how we're going to get the reward. And And the ulama have said that, the hadith of Prophet he said that, رب الرجل صائم أو رب الصائم ليس له شيء إلا جوع رب القائم ليس له من قيام إلا سحر. That many people they fast but they get nothing except hunger. Many people do qiyam but they get nothing from the qiyam except tiredness. Why? Because the ulama said because he's not mukhlis, he wasn't sincere for what he's doing. He wasn't doing for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. He was just doing it to seek the pleasure of the people. طيب? So opposite of ikhlas is a riya, showing off. So any ibadah that we do has to fulfill the two conditions. Some says three. I'll mention two first, then I'll mention the three. The first is that he must be mukhlis. He must be sincere. Whatever he does it for sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Mukhlis. Not seeking the pleasure, not seeking the praise of the people, or seeking the worldly gain. Mukhlis in what he's doing. Secondly, second condition is that he does it according to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, according to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, because any ibadah that we do, if it's not Sunnah, it's bid'ah. If it's Sunnah, but if it's not for Allah, then it's shirk. So both have to come together. Ikhlas and Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. They have to come in hand in hand. And the ayah we use, the ulama use, when Allah said, فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُ لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. So whoever wants to meet his Lord, let him do righteous action. That's sunnah, by the way. For something to be righteous has to be according to sunnah, and let him not associate anything with Allah Azza wa Jal. That is ikhlas. Okay? These are the two conditions. This ayah mentions the two conditions of ibadah. There's another condition not many people, not many scholars they talk about. In Yemen we studied, is that kufr bi-taghut. Kufr bi-taghut. Now, I think this is part of it as well. If someone worships Allah sincerely and is according to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, but he doesn't disbelieve in taghut, he's not Muslim. He can't be Muslim. Okay? So they add taghut. What is taghut? Anything worshipped beside Allah. You have to disbelieve that. Okay? It's part of Aqidah. As the Shaykhul-Islam says in Usul Thalatha, that if taradullah ala jamil khalq kufr bil taghut wa iman billah. Allah has made fard upon the creation that they disbelieve in taghut and they believe in Allah. So disbelieving in taghut, any false deities, is part of the aqidah. Our la ilaha illallah won't be accepted until we disbelieve in false deities. And there are many hadiths. Like one of the hadiths, Tariq bin Asim, he said that, the Prophet said that, من قال لا إله إلا الله وكفر بما يبعد من دون الله حرم ماله ودمه حسابه على الله عز وجل. That whoever says لا إله إلا الله and disbelieve anything worship beside Allah, then his wealth and blood become haram. Meaning he's a believer, he's a Muslim. Okay? Shaykh Muhammad Aman al-Jami' he said this is the best ayah for kufr bi-taghut and iman billah. He said that فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِطَاغُوتٍ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْأُثْقَى. That whoever disbelieves in taghut, believe in Allah, then he has hold something very strong. Shaykh said that this is the best ayah for La ilaha illallah, negation and affirmation. So show the importance of disbelieving in taghut. No one can become a believer until he disbelieves in taghut. For example, if someone says, I believe in Allah, but I don't disbelieve in taghut, not a believer. If someone says, I disbelieve in taghut, but he doesn't affirm Allah is the one ilah, he's not a believer. So can you see the importance of disbelieving taghut? So they say, any ibadah you do, you have to do for the sake of Allah and disbelieve in taghut. Okay? So, kufr bi taghut, disbelief in taghut, some of the scholars says that part of the conditions of action to be accepted. Okay? And you can understand why. If you don't have that kufr bi taghut, if someone denies sin, I don't have to disbelieve in taghut, but I'll do for the sake of Allah and follow the Sunnah of the Prophet. You can't be, you're not a believer. You can't be a believer if you don't deny the kufr with taghut, and because in the Quran. So some of the scholars that underline this third condition is whichever you want to say it about. Three of them. One of them is, as we say, kufr with taghut. So my brothers, ikhlas, when we talk about ikhlas, none of us sitting here, none of the salaf, we're talking about the past predecessors, found easy to have ikhlas. Ikhlas is not easy thing to have, it's a difficult thing to have. The salaf said that the difficult thing that we had to fight against iblis, shayateen, is fight against fear, and fighting for ikhlas is a difficult thing. And the shaitan will always try and come and change your intention, make it for other than Allah. Okay? So ikhlas is not easy to get attained. It's difficult, you have to fight, because iblis is there, shayateen is there to change your intention. Because if he can't make you worship idols, but he will try and change your intention for other than Allah. Okay? So ikhlas, the opposite is riya. Right? So Prophet ﷺ, when he was sent to the mushrik of the Quraysh, he warned against shirk and he called him to al-ikhlas, which is tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. So whenever you invite people to tawheed, you have to explain shirk as well. You can't just say tawheed of Allah. You have to explain iman billah and kufr bil taghut. Both have to come hand in hand. Because if one of them is missing, a person is not a believer. Right? So وَدَعَاهُمْ إِلَى إِخْلَاص. Whom? Them mean the Quraysh. Okay? Ikhlas, al-ibad illa wahda, and worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal one, in His oneness. And there are many ayah in the Quran, alillahu ad-deenul khalis. Illa deen sincerely for Allah Azza wa Jal. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. And that we haven't been commanded except to worship Allah sincerely. Okay? With ikhlas. It's very important that we ask Allah to make us mukhlis. Everything that we do for sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. We know the famous hadith, three persons will be raised Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah will judge before anyone. He will call three Muslims. And subhanallah, not Fir'aun, not Haman, not these great leaders of the kuffar, no, Muslim. And Allah will say Allah will call one of them, and Allah will say, what have you done with the knowledge? We say, Allah, alim yani. I learned and I taught the people for your sake. And Allah will say, no, you haven't taught people for my sake, you taught people, so people say, alim, yadu billah. So he will be taken to hellfire. The second person Allah will bring is the person who had strength and courage. And Allah will say, what have you done with the ni'mah I've given you? He said, I fought until I died for your sake. Allah will say, no. You died, so people say, you are a shuja', brave, courage person. He will be taken to hellfire. Yadu billah. And the third person, Allah gave him a lot of wealth. And Allah will say, what have you done with the wealth? He will say, Allah spent in your cause. Allah will say, no. You spent it for people to see you are a generous person. Look, what made them go to hell? They never had ikhlas. Shaitan go hold of them.
Ya Allah.
In hadith, in hadith Qudsi, Abu Hurairah, Prophet said, Allah said, Ana or inni aghna an shuraka. I'm free from any association. Man amila amalan ashraka ma'i fihi taraktu wa shirkahu. That whoever does any action, good action, and he associates anything with me in that, I will leave him and I will leave his action. Okay? So, shows that the person is not mukhlis. And another hadith says that I will tell the person to go to the person you did it for. Go to the person you wanted reward from, go to him and see if he can give you the reward. طيب يا إخوة. So there are many hadiths about ikhlas, sincerity, and how Salaf found difficult. They cried for this ikhlas to establish in the heart. It's always going to be, shaitan always going to be there to divert us from this. طيب. So many evidence are there. So Prophet ﷺ called the Quraysh to worship Allah in oneness with ikhlas. Okay? So فَلَا تَدُعْ مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. So the word ahada comes after negative, okay, mean umum. So if someone says, oh, I'm not worshipping the adul, I'm worshipping the righteous. I'm worshipping the righteous, I'm worshipping the malaika, not just the adul. So, the awliya of Allah. We say anything other than Allah's worship is haram. The word ahada, that includes malaika, angel, the prophet, the righteous, Abdul Qadir, everyone. So that negation means general negation. Nobody worship Allah Azza wa Jalla. له دعوة الحق والذي يدعون من دونه لا يستجيبون لهم بشيء. Talking about to Allah belong the worship, the da'wah. والذين يدعون من دونه, for those who call other than Allah, لا يستجيبون لهم بشيء. Talking about because they're dead. Those who worship beside Allah, they can't respond to you in anything because they're dead. They're adul. How these people gonna accept your dua? Okay, they are dead. They're mayyit. They cannot respond to your dua. Okay, and so it doesn't make sense. Another verse Allah said, أولئك الذين يدعون يبتغون إلى ربهم وسيلة أيهم أقرب ويرجون رحمة ويخافون عذابه إن عذاب ربك محظورا. Allah said, أولئك الذين يدعون. The mushrik who they worship, يبتغون إلى ربهم وسيلة. They seek closeness to Allah. You know wasila here now, yeah? You know it means righteous action, yeah? And they hope for Allah's mercy and they fear the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal. Now this ayah goes with this. Those people who, this ayah had two tafsir. One is jinn. So Allah saying that those jinn you worship, or the mushrikun, okay, they seek closeness to Allah by doing good deeds. They hope for Allah's mercy and they fear the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal. You worship in the creation. The Mufassirun say that these jinns, they became Muslim, okay, and they have been worshipped. Okay, that's one tafsir. The second tafsir is that the mushrikun worshipped Isa alayhi salam and Maryam alayhi salam. Okay, Allah will say to Isa, Ya Isa, do you tell the people to worship, take ilah beside me? He say, Oh Allah, I have no knowledge of myself except you have my knowledge of me, and I will never do something that you never ordered me, or something you forbade me. So Allah will ask Isa alayhi salam. Obviously Allah knows that. So this second tafsir is that talking about those people who worship Isa and Maryam alayhi salam. But what we learn is that the people, Allah saying that the people you're worshipping, themselves are creation. They fear Allah, they fear the adhab of Allah Azza wa Jal, and you're worshipping them. So what we learn from this is that these people who worship other than Allah, they cannot respond to the dua, whatever they're calling to. That's what the ayah is talking about. So here Prophet ﷺ, he called the mushrik of the Quraysh to ikhlas, to worship Allah alone. Tayyib. And then he brings the Shaykhul-Islam brings some of the ayah to prove that the da'wah is only, the worship is only for Allah Azza wa Jalla. Okay? Continue with that. وتحققت أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قاتلهم ليكون دعاء كله لله. So it has been established the Prophet ﷺ fought them, he fought the mushrik of the Quraysh, so the dua becomes for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Let's talk about dua now. Let's talk about dua. First of all, dua are two types. Let me give you the category of dua. Dua are two types. Dua al-mas'ala and dua al-ibadah. طيب. Dua al-mas'ala, mas'ala means request, asking. Dua of asking. So, for example, you might ask Allah, maybe guide my heart, or find me a job, or Allah, your need, cure me, cure so and so, something like that. So, dua al-mas'ala are three types. The first type of dua al-mas'ala is that something you only ask Allah Azza wa Jal, and no one can help you except Allah. Okay? So, cure from illness, could be cancer or disease, whatever. Only Allah can cure, no one can cure. You only ask Allah. Guiding somebody's heart. Okay? You want something, you want a family. Okay, you ask Allah. Only Allah can give you that. So anything like that, if you ask other than Allah, it's major shirk. Major shirk, no doubt. Because only Allah is qadir of this. He is the only one who can give you this. That's the first type of dua al-mas'ala. The second type of dua al-mas'ala is that you ask someone who is alive in front of you and able to help you. And this is allowed. And a lot of the time, Sahabas would ask Prophet to make dua, okay, when he's alive. Okay, and he would do that. And when Prophet passed away, they never went to Prophet. They used Sahabas, Abbas, Hadith of Abbas. Okay, they will use him to make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay, so dua with someone is alive, Haadi and Qadir. Has to be alive in front of you and has to able to help you. So it's no point asking a baby in front of you and he's alive to help you. He can't help you. So three conditions has to be met. Okay, dua, someone in front of you able to help you, and he's alive. Okay, the person is alive. Then you can make dua to them. Okay, when I first went to the masjid, they asked me this question: what was dua li ghayrillah? Ashid la yajuz. But then when I learned it is allowed. At certain times allowed, fulfilling the conditions. Like here, the person is alive, he is in front of you and is able to help you. Nothing wrong with that. طيب. The third type of dua, okay, dua al-majid, calling upon a deceased, or even someone is not in front of you. He's dead or is not in front of you, to make dua to them, okay, asking them to give you children, asking them to cure you. And when people do with Abdul Jilani, they go to his grave and say, bring my deceased alive, bring the ruh back. Things like these. These are major shirk. Okay? These are all mas'ala, isn't it? You're asking. Okay? Mas'ala related to dunya. All issues about dunya. So, in dunya, there are things only Allah can give you. And there are things in dunya where people can help you. So, depend. Okay? So, the scholars defined, Shaykh ibn Uthaymin here, defined dua al-mas'ala, three categories. These are three categories. The next type of dua al-ibadah, which is dua related to worship. So dua al-mas'ala, talabul hawa'ij, asking for your need. And you gave some of the example, isn't it? You're asking for your need. Okay, that's good. The next one is dua al-ibadah, talabul thawab, seeking, requesting reward. Now, dua al-ibadah, called ibadah because everything that we do in worship called dua. Dua, everything that we do, hajj, fasting, i'tikaf, salah, seeking knowledge, everything, they're all dua. Why? Because everything that you do in terms of ibadah, you're seeking the pleasure of Allah. You're seeking the reward from Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? So, and that is only for Allah. Can anyone give you reward of your salah? Can anyone give you the reward of your seeking knowledge? Can anyone give you the reward of your hajj? No one can accept Allah. The ulama says, you seek the reward other than Allah, it's major kufr. To believe someone can do it, it's major shirk. This is only for Allah. Okay? Only for Allah. So, and for you to believe that, you say that a human can give you better reward than Allah. A'udhu billah. طيب. So dua al-mas'ala and dua al-ibadah, these are two types of dua that I mentioned in the Quran. So when we say وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ فَلَا تَدْعُوا مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. So وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِد, that masajid is for Allah and do not invoke anyone other than Allah Azza wa Jal. So let's talk about this. Masajid is plural of masjid. What does masjid literally mean? Place you make sajda. That's what it is. So the Mufassirun says, Masajid, like Sa'id ibn Musayyib is a student of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Not only there is a son-in-law as well, but let me tell you his story. Sa'id ibn Musayyib, he was the noblest of the Tabi'een. He is the noble. There's no one better than him from the Tabi'een. Okay? So Imam al-Zahabi mentioned of Sa'id ibn Musayyib that he married his daughter to one of his students. And so his student will go to Sa'id ibn Musayyib's class and learn from him. So when his daughter married to this alim, I don't remember his name, they got married, and then he was to walk out to go to his father-in-law class, now Sa'id ibn Musayyib. So she said, don't go. What my father has in his stomach, I have it. You know what I mean? What my father can teach you, I can teach you. He left his father-in-law, he studied under his wife, he became an alim. that's his daughter. Okay, so what happened is that he studied under his wife. So Sa'id ibn Musayyib is the most, Imam Zahab mentioned, the most noble of the tabi'in, Imam al-Musayyib. He's one of the 7 fuqaha of Medina. One of them, him, Ibrahim al-Nakhi, Urwa bin Zubayr, other one. Sayyid al-Musayyib said, this masajid yamin, any places where you make sajda with 7 limbs is a masjid. So, in the park, when we pray Eid in the park, that's masjid. Because when you have mim added to a verb, become a place. So sajda is to make sajda, isn't it? When you add the mim to it, become masjid, a place. Okay? So, Sa'id ibn Musayyib, that's what he said. The ulama says that the masjid are 2 types. Am, general masjid, which is the whole earth. As hadith said that Allah has made the whole earth a masjid for me, so you can pray wherever you want, except maqbara, grave, toilet, and these places. Other than that, any place on the earth is a masjid. Allah gave it to Prophet, never gave it to any other Prophet. Okay? And so the ard itself is a masjid. Second type of masjid, like this masjid, where you build a masjid on a land, that's a masjid as well. So wherever you worship Allah, whether on the park or in the masjid, okay, do not invoke other than Allah Azza wa Jal. وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ فَلَا تَدْعُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. So فَلَا تَدْعُوا dua. Shaykhul-Islam Ibn Qayyim said that this dua include dua al-mas'ala and dua al-ibadah. Both including there. Okay? So whatever dua you make, dua of your need, make it to Allah. And dua al-ibadah, when you worship Allah Azza wa Jal, seek the reward from Allah. Okay? So those two ibadah, those two dua, type of dua is mentioned in any verse. That's basically, whenever you hear the ayah that talks of dua, both include in that. Both include in that. So here we have a verse, فَلَا تَدْعُوا مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. Do not invoke anyone beside Allah. So here it means dua, ibadah, dua mas'ala. So what it means is that, now don't start asking Abdul Jilani or any peer, anyone, or he alive or dead, doesn't matter. Can you guide my son's heart? Can you cure my son is got a cancer, or he's got just major shit. So any dua, mas'ala or ibadah, include in that, and that should be for only for Allah Azza wa Jalla. طيب. Now here he says, talking about dua, وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنْ يَدْعُو مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ مَنْ لَا يَسْتَجِيبُ لَهُ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ وَهُمْ عَنْ دُعَائِهِمْ غَافِلُونَ وَإِذَا حُشِرَ النَّاسُ كَانُوا لَهُمْ أَعْدَاءً وَكَانُوا بِعِبَادَتِهِمْ كَافِرِينَ. Allah said, who is most misguided than the one who invoke other than Allah when he can't even respond to you? He can't respond to your dua. Until Yawm al-Qiyamah, he's dead or idle, they can't respond to you. And they are ghafilun regarding your dua. When they go to Prophet's grave, he's ghafil. Prophet is ghafil. He's dead. You can't make dua to him. I've seen people to raise their hand and they get, A'udhu Billah. People have to raise their hand to Prophet to make dua to him. A'udhu Billah. He's ghafil. Prophet is dead. He cannot respond to your dua. Okay? Allah promised. And you will never find in the Quran dua is being allowed other than Allah. When Allah talks about dua, He refers to Himself. Dua to Allah. It's ibadah. I will give another hadith, inshallah, more stronger, inshallah. طيب. وَإِذَا حُشِرَ النَّاسِ كَانُوا لَهُمْ أَعْدَاء. So, talking about Yawm al-Qiyamah, so the people who you worship other than Allah Azza wa Jal, the false deities, Yawm al-Qiyamah, they'll come to you and they'll disbelieve your kufr. They'll disbelieve. They will make inkar. They will reject your kufr. Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yadu billah. طيب, the hadith of Nu'man bin Bashir radiallahu anhu. There's two hadiths. One is الدعاء مخ العبادة. This is in Usul al-Thalatha. Shaykhul-Islam brings it, but that's weak hadith. Mukh means the core of ibadah, or mukh is mukh means brain, or sometimes it's something like that. It's the core of dua, but that's weak hadith. Another hadith, ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah. Dua is a worship. So the ulama says dua huwa al-ibad. The pronoun here means they're emphasizing it, the importance of dua. And we'll give you some of the conditions of dua. There are a lot of conditions of dua. Is that first of all, when you make dua, you have to make dua for Allah. You have to be mukhlis. You have to be sincere in your dua. Okay? That because you're worshipping Allah, you don't call other than Allah. He has to be mukhlis in his dua. Secondly, when he makes dua, he should be mutayaqqin. Yaqeen. He should have yaqeen. He doesn't make dua and he starts doubting his dua will be accepted or not. The Prophet said that when one of you make dua, be muqinin, be convinced, have yaqeen in it. Indeed, Allah does not respond to the dua of ghafil, the one negligent, or dua accepted or not, what shall I do? Imagine you go to Yawm al-Arafah and you make all the tawbah to Allah, you made all the dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. You know the biggest halaka, biggest destruction on your Hajj is doubting it. Allah will not accept it. Your Hajj just nullified. This Hajj was it's just waste of time. Once you feel that in your heart, despair of mercy of Allah, that's a major sin of the heart. Then khalas, destroyed. You made all this dua, then you're doubting Allah. Will Allah accept my dua? Will Allah forgive me? That's a destruction. So you have to mutayaqqin, you have to have yaqeen in your dua. Allah will help me, Allah will give me. And hadith said that when you make dua, and the Prophet said, do not become ghafil, or make dua, Allah not responded to my dua, so I'm not going to make dua anymore. That's the being yaqeen. You continue to make dua. Your dua will be accepted when it's time for it to be accepted. So you're making dua to Allah, Allah give me a wife, or give me a job, nothing happening. You get a wife when it's good for you. Maybe it's not ready for you. It's not ready for it. It's not going to make dua, she fell on you in front of you. No, it's not going to work like that. It might take time. Allah knows when it's good for you. Job. When you're going to get job, Allah will give it to you when you need it. But you take them in, obviously. So do not become ghafil, ghafla, negligence, and not being sincere. So have conviction in your heart that Allah will respond to my dua. And don't let shaitan come and say, nah, Allah will not accept it. That's worse than any sin. You know, this is worse than major sin, you know that. To believe Allah will not accept my dua, that's worse than zina. You saying Allah not going to accept your dua, that's a lie against Allah. Allah never said, oh, Muhammad, Abdul, I'm not going to accept your dua. He never said that. You just have to wait. To have that feeling in the heart is haram. Yadu billah. This is misconception of Allah Azza wa Jal. And that's why Iblis, called Iblis, is from Ablas, meaning he despairs of mercy of Allah. He doesn't believe Allah's mercy. He despairs. We don't despair. We shouldn't be despairing. Yadu billah. And that's lack of tawheed of Allah. The lack of knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal, to become despair in the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the second condition of dua. Another condition of dua, adab of dua, is that you don't make dua to commit sin. Okay? Or to make dua to Allah to remove His barakah. Or something wrong, you're making dua, something sinful. Okay? Break the kinship or something like that. That's haram. That's haram. Okay? The main condition of dua that scholars have mentioned. So these are basic adab of dua. So basically, you understand what dua now. That dua have to be for sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. And hadith of Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said that Allah is angry with the one who doesn't make dua to him. Allah is angry with the one who doesn't make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? And dua is one of the important parts of ibadah. Not only the hadith says, nothing push away the qadr of Allah except dua. You know, dua can remove your qadr. Dua can change your qadr. Okay? So, if someone, say from in the qadr of Allah is written that this person is going to get cancer, dua, Allah that can be lifted from him. That's how powerful dua is. Subhanallah. And so inshallah, dua is a connection between you and Allah. When we make dua, for our yaqeen and the iman to be strong, dua will help us inshallah. Dua will help us. So that's the first one. So Prophet told the Quraysh, the Mushrik the Quraysh, they should make dua to Allah alone, be sincere. Because they used to make dua to Allah through the idols, yadu billah. Okay? So he said no. Directly to Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah said, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ وَادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. He didn't say, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ وَادْعُونِي بِطَرِيقَةِ فُلَانَ فُلَانَ بِوَاسِطَةِ فُلَانَ فُلَانَ. Allah didn't say, call on me, take intermediate of so and so. No. He said, call on me, I'll respond to your dua. طيب, that's the first type of ibadah Prophet called them to, is to make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? Also, the next one is al-dhabh kulluhu lillah. Okay, kulluhu lillah. طيب يا إخوة, let's talk about what is dhabh? When is the Isha?
Adhan is 8:30, Jama'ah 8:45.
Okay, let's do this inshallah. طيب, الذبح كله لله. What is ذبح? الذبح is هو إزحاق الروح بإراقة الدم على وجه المقصود. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen gives this definition, quite good definition, that to eliminate someone's life, to eliminate the life of an animal by causing the blood to flow in a specific manner. Okay? In a specific manner. So let's talk about adab of dhabh. طيب? Now, when it comes to dhabh, okay, the adab of dhabh is that first and foremost has to be by the name of Allah Azza wa Jal. Has to be by the name of Allah Azza wa Jal. And if anyone sacrifice by other than name of Allah Azza wa Jal, knowingly, the dhabh is not accepted. It's not allowed. It's haram. طيب? Now, that's the specific first manner of dhabh. Secondly, dhabh, when you do dhabh, وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ وَلِيُحِدَّ شَفْرَتَهُ. When you make dhabh, let him sharpen the sword. When you make dhabh, okay, when you make dhabh, let him sharpen the sword and let the blood flow. Okay, that's also part of adab of dhabh, that you sharpen the sword. Also part of adab is that you don't show the knife to the animal you're going to sacrifice. طيب? Also part of adab, you don't drag the animal. You don't drag the animal or sacrifice in front of other animals as well, because they have life and they feel for it. طيب? So these are some of the adab of the dhabh. So what is the ruling of the one, okay, who sacrifice animal and he forgets to say Bismillah? Okay, so when we sacrifice, we say Bismillah, yeah? Allahu Akbar. If someone mention Allah's name in the dhabih is wajib. And if someone leaves intentionally, the dhabiha is not halal. طيب? وَمَا أُحِلَّ بِهِ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ. And whatever is sacrificed other name of Allah is haram. طيب? And the one who do dhabh has to say Bismillah. So I'm doing dhabh, but the Hussam, can you say Bismillah Akbar for me? No, I have to say it. I'm doing the actual dhabh, I have to say the dhabh. Bismillah Akbar. طيب? And but if you forget, what's the ruling? The ruling is that we have many dalil. We have to understand that if someone forget to say Bismillah, Tasmiyah of Allah out of forgetfulness, or if he's ignorant, then is ma'ad'ur, the meat is halal. The meat is halal. And Ibn Uthaymin al-Albani, all scholars have mentioned that. Ibn Abbas says, Man nasiya tasmiya in the dhabiha, fala ba'as. Okay, if someone forget to say Bismillah, okay, then the dhabiha is halal. Okay, but he's forgotten. And the Hadith Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, the Prophet said that, Inna Allah tajawaz li ummati khata nisyan wa ma ustikru alayhim. That my ummah is been forgiven by Allah for his forgetfulness, his mistake, and whatever is compelled. The ulama says that these three things people don't do intentionally. So if you forget to say Bismillah, the meat is halal. Okay? Meat is halal. And this is opinion of Ibn Abbas, Sa'id bin Musayyib, Ishaq bin Rahawai, Tawus, Ata, Shaykh bin Baz also mentions that if you forget to say Bismillah, okay, then your meat is halal. You continue with that. And this is a hadith Aisha radiallahu anha, when the meat was given to Prophet ﷺ and came to him, they didn't know was the tasmiyah was mentioned, Bismillah, okay? Prophet said Bismillah and eat it, you know? So we're talking about someone forget to say Bismillah. Right? Allah said in the Quran, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ. Listen to this, okay? Do not eat if Allah's name is not mentioned in the dhabiha. Indeed, it is a fisq. The ulama says, fisq is from that is a fasiq, means a sinner. It's a sin. So the ulama says, like Ibn Qudama and Ibn al-Arabi in his Ahkam al-Quran, he said, innahu la fisq. Allah used the descriptive word for the one who does qurbani, dhabh, and he doesn't mention the name of Allah. Okay? So they say that if someone forget to say Bismillah, you cannot call him a fasiq because he forgot. So forgetting, someone forgot to say Bismillah, it doesn't fall into the ayah, meaning that you can eat the meat. The fisq is not on him. Fasiq is the one who doesn't say it knowingly. But the fasiq is not the one who forget to say it, mistaken. You can't call him fisq. You did a fisq. You made mistake. So that shows you can eat the meat. Okay? You can eat the meat of a Muslim who sacrificed an animal and he does not mention the name of Allah by forgetfulness. طيب? So we've mentioned, the ruling is that, yeah, if you leave by forgetfulness, la bas, you eat the meat inshallah. And the adab of the dhabh we have given. Also, something else. So we mentioned the adab. Okay, now, we have in the Quran alfaz, wording, different wording, dhabh, nahar, tadhiyah. Okay? Now, dhabh, a different type of dhabh. Okay? Dhabh is a general. When you do, say for example, for aqiqah, you do dhabh, and you do aqiqah. Walima, you do dhabh. Okay? You have a dhabh for business, you want to do dhabh. That's you use word dhabh. You want to feed some of your relatives, you want to do dhabh of a sheep. So all these are different types of dhabh, dhaba'ih, but obviously you mention the name of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Nahar, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. Pray to your Lord, worship your Lord, and sacrifice by the name of Allah. The word nahar here means, the word nahar, the ulama says, you only use for camel. So when you do sacrifice camel, you don't say dhabh for camel, you say nahar for the camel. And they say tadhiyah, duha, Eid al-Adha we say, this is only Yawm al-Eid. And this is specifically the best day of Yawm al-Adhiyah. It's the Qurbani for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So these are some of the alfaz mentioned in the Quran. طيب. So these are type of dhabh, these alfaz we have mentioned. طيب يا إخوة, we've covered quite a lot today. Now what we'll do, inshallah, we'll take some of the questions. I'm not going to be starting soon. So if you want me to answer any questions for you, I'll answer it now. Go on. In the if he forgets, everyone understood that if someone forgets to say Bismillah while he's sacrificing, meat is halal. Halal, because we gave some of the, and also the qaida, Imam Sa'di mentions, he says, وَخَطَعٌ وَإِكْرَاهٌ وَنِسْيَانٌ أسقطه معبود الرحمن. The principle he brings, Imam Sa'di in Qawaid al-Fiqh, he said, forgetfulness, and whatever he compelled, okay, these things are overlooked by Ar-Rahman. He overlooks. Askhatahu. He overlooks. Okay, so if you forget to say Bismillah while eating Qurbani, Dhabh, he overlooked. The meat is halal. Nothing to do with that. Go on.
I just want to know the hadith. Where can I find the hadith?
Which one?
Regarding Aisha, yeah. The Aisha.
Oh, it's hadith, authentic hadith. Shaykh Saleh also mentions that. Authentic hadith. I won't be surprised if it's Sahihain. Yeah, the meat was given to Aisha and she asked Prophet ﷺ, because they didn't know, I think meat from Ahl Kitab. Meat, they didn't, if the name of Allah was mentioned, Prophet said, say Bismillah and eat it. You know, shows that you don't know if the name of Allah is mentioned. Still say the Bismillah and eat it, inshallah. So when you forget to say Bismillah in the time of sacrifice and you forget, then you fall under the hadith of Nisyan, you've forgotten. And also part of mistake as well. So the meat is halal and your mistake is overlooked by Allah Azza wa Jalla. Yeah. Go on.
You say the hadith of Allah is angry with the one who doesn't make dua.
Dua, yeah. Yeah. So we should make dua, yeah.
One more question is, look at the hadith where said the one who earns haram and he's eating haram. So
Allah will not
how would his dua be accepted? How do you understand that hadith?
It's simple. If you have, isn't the hadith, a man raised his hand and hand was dirty and he's making dua, the Prophet said he's eating, living, everything is haram. How Allah will respond to his dua? So if you're earning is haram, you're consuming haram, you're living is haram, everything is haram, then dua won't be accepted. That's what it is. Allah will not accept your dua. So if Allah is not going to accept your dua, shows you're living on something haram and doing major sins. Okay, this haram, subhanAllah. That's what it is. That's why dua is accepted, because everything he's doing haram. Yeah.
With regards to the question of dhabh, you know, there's some meat that is slaughtered by machines. They use like audio or Bismillah. I'm going to assume that's not permissible to eat.
Is the machine?
Yeah.
Electric shock, you mean?
Electric shock, yes.
Yeah. Okay, it's a good one. It's a good question. Hadith says, إن الله كتب الإحسان على كل شيء. Allah has written ihsan everything. فإذا قتلتم فأحسنوا القتلى. If you fight in the battlefield, you take the life in good way. Even in Islam, in jihad, okay, you do not amputate the person. Cut his ear, hand, haram. Even Islam, when the Prophet fought, the Sahaba fought, they fought and they took the life straight away without him feeling the pain. Even though Allah, so Islam shows mercy to the kuffar. Okay, this is one jihad. فَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الذَّبْحَ. When you do dhabh, then do dhabh properly. Ibn Uthaymin says, it talks about in Arba'in, the ulama, they said, what Prophet did was the best thing, best sunnah, is to sacrifice the way Prophet did it. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Okay, there was no electric shock. But electric shock, if they say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, before they electric shock the animal, this is halal, it's halal. But it's not healthy. It's not healthy. Because what it is, there's something wrong with the blood, and it's proven as well. So, as long as they Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and they shock it, then it becomes halal. But the best way is to sacrifice with the sharp sword. The way we do it, the way Prophet did it, that's the best way. Yeah. Is it okay? Yeah. Inshallah.
Is it a major sin if you have doubt in like normal deeds, or is it just Hajj?
Say again.
Is it a major sin if you have a doubt and acceptance of your deeds for all the deeds, or just Hajj?
Doubting and not having yaqeen Allah's forgiveness, two different things. You can make Hajj and you can fear Allah, and because one of the attributes of believers is that they feel they actually accepted or not. Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah accept my action, because he fears they might not be accepted. That's different. We should humble ourselves. We can't say, I pray for Allah, alhamdulillah, it's accepted. I made Hajj, alhamdulillah, no doubt, my Hajj is perfect. A'udhu billah. That's against believer. Believer should feel. And in fact, when Ibrahim salam said, وَجُنُوبُنِي وَبَنِيَ نَعْبُدُ الْأَصْنَامِ, keep me away and my progeny from worshipping other than you. He feared that. We should fear, is my action accepted? In Surah Mu'minun, Allah described the believers. One of them that they fear, they feel the action might not be accepted. I haven't done enough. That's different. Okay? But to feel, Allah not going to forgive me. That's different. That's against the Aqidah. Then you're denying Allah al-Maghfirah. You're denying Allah al-Ghafur and al-Ghaffar. Ar-Rahman al-Rahim. That's two different things. Yeah, two different things, yeah.
What advice do you give someone like he stops doing a good deed because he fears riyah? So, for example, he's breaking his fast and people are watching him, but he doesn't want to break his fast because he's scared that he's going to be riyah.
This is not inhuman. This is not something wrong with them. Whoever does that is something wrong with him. It's something. It's not. He hasn't got sanity. That's not abnormal. This is. You don't do. Time to break fast, you break fast. Or I have showing. Now this is not from the adab.
Why is that reading Quran?
Maybe something wrong with. I think it's something wrong with the person. Yeah, might have jinn in him or what. Because it's not normal. You don't do this. You break your fast. Allah, you break it. Okay, I'm moving to the masjid. No, I'm not going to do it. No, this is not normal. This is not how below behave. Yeah, so it's ajib. That is ajib. Yeah.
See, if one were to seek aid from someone who's paralyzed, like he's right in front of him, he's alive, and he believes he's got qudra to aid him, could that fall under shirk?
No, it depends. If he's paralyzed but he's able to give, say, can you give it I don't know, pen or something, or akhi, can you help me put this in the bag or something like that. It's dua, you asking, request. Dua means request. You're requesting a paralyzed person but alive in front of you. He is able to put the help you to put it in the bag. But that's okay. It's there. That's not a problem, inshallah. Yeah.
So on that note, asking somebody to make dua, you said if they're alive and have to be present.
And has to have a qudra, ability.
Ability. What about the present? You said present. Present meaning.
No, present has to be present and has to be qadir as well. So I gave an example with the baby. Baby is in front of you and he's alive, but you're asking a baby to help you to do such certain things. Baby can't help you. Baby, isn't it? So it has to be qadir as well. These three things have to be there.
Well, yeah. So if somebody is actually in another country, that's
obviously life. You can't do that.
What about like for forgetfulness? So if someone does wudu and later he prays, but he's doubting whether he has wudu or not, but he's thinking maybe he has wudu, he doesn't know. So can he still pray like based on?
If he made wudu and then he doubt, then we say Hadith of Prophet Abdul bin Zayd, that man came and he's complaining and he's doubting his wudu is not, do I have wudu or not. Prophet said that do not leave until you feel something came out or you broke wound. So what it is, al-yaqeen la yazul bi-shak. Conviction is removed by doubt. So you made wudu, then you're doubting, you establish on certainty that I had wudu, and the doubt is from shaitan. You leave it. Yeah, that's it.
Does dua al-mas'ala fall into dua al-ibadah?
Dua al-mas'ala, no, two different dua. Mas'ala is your request in issues of dunya. It relates to you asking Allah, like some of the examples I gave, to guide your heart, to give you shifa, things like that. Dua al-ibadah, ibadah is related to any ibadah that we do okay, is dua. Hajj, Umrah, I'tikaf, Siyam, Salah, all dua. Because by end of the day, you're making all the ibadah seeking the reward of Allah. So to do the two different dua, they're two different type of dua. Yeah, they're not, dua masala doesn't fall into dua ibadah. Allah, no. Two different things, yeah.
خلاص.
خلاص؟
Yeah.
Okay, جزاكم الله خير.